G'day, I'm Stefan, back with another episode of Reach Out TV. This episode, we're talking about ecstasy, speed and ice, drugs also known as amphetamines. To get into it, we asked Reach Out users to email us their most frequently unasked questions about drugs. And to answer some of those questions, we've got an awesome crew of people who know and love Reach Out to give us their opinions and hook us up with some info from reachout.com.au. So let's go! So Janet, Ed and Nathan, let's kick it off with this one. Why do people take drugs, even though they might know the risks involved?
I think that people are curious about drugs and what they might do to them, and they're quite available to people.
I think they might see drugs as a way of breaking down social barriers that are part of going out at night.
Definitely the availability part, I think, does play a big role in why people choose to take drugs even though they know that there is a risk, because drugs are everywhere. You can almost find them in any setting.
Someone asked, what can you do if your mates take drugs and you don't want to?
Well, I think that just because your friend is taking drugs definitely doesn't mean that you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. There is actually a really good fact sheet on Reach Out, which is called Managing Pressure to Take Drugs, and it's just got a whole bunch of information like what Janet was talking about on how to deal with dealing with pressure. And
also it's a lot about mutual respect. So just as much as you don't want to try drugs doesn't mean that you have to then hold judgment on them for choosing to take drugs. That's their decision too. And resisting the pressure can sometimes be really hard, but if you just have to remember that if you don't want to do it, you stick to that, irrespective of what anyone else says or tries to convince you to do.
Is ice as serious as what everyone says it is?
I volunteer at a crisis centre in King's Cross in Sydney, and from what I've seen, yeah, it is a really serious drug. A lot of the people who come through the doors are ice affected or ice users, and it is potent. The withdrawals are more severe and the personality change is pretty dramatic. They become more paranoid and aggressive than most other drug users.
From what I know, ice is a relatively new drug, so I think that is a cause for some concern because we don't really know a whole lot what it can do to you.
What about my parents will freak out if I ask them anything about drugs? Who can I talk to?
Well, yeah, it is different for everybody. Like, different parents will react in different ways, and if your parents aren't approachable about the matter, there are resources such as websites like Reach Out, which will help you gain the information you need to make an informed decision about drug use.
Try your parents. You might think that they're going to react in a certain way, but that doesn't mean that they will. Test the water first though, don't jump in with something too heavy.
So we heard it from you and you heard it from us. Hopefully this episode answered some of your own frequently unasked questions. Fill in the gaps on ecstasy, speed and ice at reachout.com.au. Tune in next episode where we give you the lowdown on safe partying. Check you later.